Hi, here's a tutorial on how I make my photo greeting cards for the holidays using Adobe Photoshop Elements. If you don't have Elements, I recommend going to adobe.com and downloading the 30-day free trial. I think you'll like it. If you like to scrapbook or have a lot of digital photos, you can make some really cool things in there. Little gifts, gift tags, recipe cards, invitations, Valentine's, you name it. Like I said, you can get a free version, and it's got all of the bells and whistles that the paid-for version has. It's just only a limited use for 30 days, so which is enough time to make your Christmas cards. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start with a blank file. So I've gone up to File, New, Blank File. I like to use the preset for photo. And then I'm going to choose the size I want. You have different sizes, and I'm going to use 5x7 because that's what I'm going to be printing it at. And I'm going to choose landscape. You can choose portrait if you like. For this simple card, we're just going to go ahead and use the landscape orientation. And then you want to make sure that you choose a resolution that's going to allow you to print high quality print. I'm using 300. You can use a little bit less, but be aware that you may end up losing quality. So finally, I'm going to choose the background, and I'm going to make it transparent, which means there's nothing, there's no color, there's nothing right there right now. And then you can choose OK. I already have one open, so I'm going to cancel. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do is I want to choose a background that's going to be set as my border. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up a couple of these papers that I already have here. I have all the pictures that I'm going to use, and I have the papers that I want. I didn't make these papers. I got them from a couple of my favorite sites. One of them is shabbyprincess.com, and the other is Free Digital Scrapbooking. They have really awesome kits that they allow you to download for free. They also have kits that you can purchase. Just make sure that if you're using something like this and you didn't make the background papers, that you go ahead and give credit. You respect the terms of use, which means that you're not going to right-click and save and then use it. And their policies are stated on their website, but they do give a lot of stuff for free, and they're really, really awesome. So we want to keep them to keep doing that. So make sure you're not abusing them. No stealing. So that having been said, I'm going to go back to my empty file, my blank file, by double clicking, and I'm going to choose the stripy paper because I think it's cute, and I'm going to go ahead and click on it and drag it on top, and that's going to be my first layer. As you can see over here, here's your layers. Here's the blank layer, and here is the one that I just dragged in. Now, it's a bit large compared to what we're using, so I'm going to resize it. You can either come to the corner and click on it, or you can press Control-T, and it'll bring the same, your percentages up here. So you can resize it by dragging the corners down, but as you can see, as we're resizing, it's kind of disappearing. So you want to make sure you click on it, and you're going to drag that over. Okay, the other way you can do that is just come over here and set the size that you want as far as the percentage goes. I'm going to go down to 50%, and oops, it went away, so I'm going to go ahead and let's go back up to 75. To avoid that, you want to go ahead and drag this way up here. So we're going to go at 50%. That's much better. And then I also want it to be at an angle because I don't want my stripes to go straight up and down. So I'm going to go at a 45-degree angle, and then I'm going to move it over. If you wanted to make your stripes go the opposite way, all you have to do is put a little minus sign, and it'll make them go the opposite direction. So make sure you put it wherever you want, where you want the stripes to go. That looks about right for me. And then you're going to click on the little green check mark. Now, if I wanted to put a different paper on top, I could drag another paper on top of there, and I can see how I like it. The layers are really fun. You can turn off the layers by clicking the little eye, just saying that you don't want to see it. And if you just really don't want that layer there, you can actually drag it into the little trash can here, and it'll get rid of it completely. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is I want to make sure that I can see these rulers at the top and on the side. And how you see that is you're going to go to View, and you want to make sure that there's a little check mark by ruler. So my rulers are right there. Now I'm going to set my border. I'm going to go a little bit less than ½ an inch. I don't want it to be too close to the edge because sometimes when you're printing, the printer will actually cut off part of your photos. So I want to make sure that I can actually see this. So I'm going to go in just a little bit less than half on all all the sides. Just like that. So this is going to be my border. That's all we're going to see. Now I'm going to set the background for my photos by selecting the rounded rectangle tool. You can use the regular rectangle tool if you want. I just like the rounded one. And right here you can see the radius tells you how round the corners are going to be. If you want it to be more pointy, you'd make it smaller. If you want it to be really round, you make it larger. I'm going to use 30. And I'm going to put my little cross here. I'm going to put that right in the corner of my guides. And I'm going to make sure that that lines up. All the edges turned green, so I know it's lined up and it's going to be centered. Okay, I like the color, but if you wanted to change the color, you could go up here, click on the set the color for the layer, and you can use the little eyedrop tool here, and you can choose a color that matches the picture. You can do whatever you want, pick whatever color you want. You can just select a random color. I like to choose it right off of the background so I can make sure that it matches. So it made a new layer called Shape 1. You can actually rename that layer if you want, so that you know it's going to be the background. I'm going to double click on it and I'm going to call it background, so I know what that's called. Okay, the next thing I want to do is I'm going to decide where I want my placeholders for my photos to be. So I'm going to click on my little mover tool, and I'm going to bring these guides in to a 1/2 inch all around. I really love these guides because they keep everything even. I really like everything to be nice and even when I'm making my photo cards, so it doesn't look totally random unless you want it that way, which is fine. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is I'm going to decide where I want my first picture to go. I'm going to use my rounded rectangle tool again, and I'm going to make a photo go right here at the bottom. This is going to be my main photo, so I'm going to make it kind of big. And I'm going to change the color of it so it shows. See, every time I make a new layer, it's going to put it on top of the last layer. You can reorder these layers if you want. So I'm going to set the color for this to white because it's just going to be a placeholder and I don't want it to blend in. And then you can change the size again by going up to your mover tool, and you'll see the little corners, and you can stretch that up a little bit, or you could rotate it if you want by coming into the corner using your little your numbers up here. And I like the size of that, I like the placement of it, so I'm going to go ahead and click the little arrow. So that's where my first photo is going to go. Now I want to make sure that my other photos line up the way I want them to line up, so I'm going to add another guide, and I'm going to make a little bit of a border in between. I think that's enough space, and I'm going to make sure, I'm going to put another photo in, and this time I'm going to make it a portrait. So this orientation of this photo is going to be portrait, and I think that's probably a little bit too big, so I'm going to use my move tool, and I'm going to shorten it up a little bit. And click OK, and see my new layers over here. So I'm going to take Shape 1, I'm going to put it large photo. This would be really good if you had a family photo you could put there. And then I'm going to put photo 2. And then I'm going to have one more photo on this card. And I'm going to make it right here. See, everything lines up pretty nice right there. So I have 3 photos that I'm going to put on here, and I'm going to rename this by double clicking. And I'm going to call this photo 3. Now, I have an empty space left, and that space is where I'm going to put my message, where I say Happy Holidays or Happy New Year. And I'm just going to make one more rectangle. I'm going to put it right there, but first I want to bring a guide in and bring it right to the edge of this rectangle so that it matches up. And then I'm just going to drag this over. Just like that. So that's where my message is going to go. And I'm going to take a little trick over here, and I'm going to make sure I name this message. And I'm going to take the message and I'm going to bring the opacity down so it's a little bit more see-through. So I know it's going to go there, but I don't want to see that big white rectangle. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to remove my guides because I don't really need them very much right now. So as you can see, we've totally completed the layout and we know exactly where our photos are going to go. So you could put them wherever you want. This is just a really simple card. I have a large family photo that can go here, and then maybe a picture of a couple of kids and maybe a dog, or two pictures of kids. It's up to you. You can resize all of these by just clicking on each little layer, and you can adjust the size up and down if you want it to be a little bit, that one to be a little bit smaller, this one to be a little bit taller. And if you accidentally turn it, that's fine. You can come up here and reset that to 0. So I think I like that. Now that I have set my layout, I am going to go ahead and start adding my photos. And this is where it gets really fun. So I'm going to start with my large photo. So you can either click, make sure you're on the mover tool. You can either click on the layer or you can come over here to your layers and click on it. I'm going to start with large photo. I already have my photos loaded on here. You can go up to File, Open, and open whatever photos you want. I'm going to take my photo, I'm going to click on it, I'm going to drag it on top just like I did with the background or the border paper. Okay, right now it's kind of covering up a lot of the photo, but that's okay. What we're going to do is we are going to make sure it's on top of the layer that it's going to fit into. And I'm going to put my little hand right in the middle, and I'm going to use my Alt button. I have APC, so I'm going to use my Alt button. And when I'm right in the middle and I'm holding down Alt, you see these two little circles and a little arrow? You want to make sure you click right in the middle, and then you click right there, and it puts the photo into that shape. It's really awesome. And now I can move this around. I can even resize it if I want by using my Control T and then just making this a little bit smaller so you see a little bit more of the tree and mommy's antlers. This is me and my son. I'm using my own photos that I took. I can resize by dragging and then just reposition. There we are. I think I want it to be a little bit bigger, so I'm going to go up just a little bit. See how I can do? And it only shows in the one little space. And then when I like it, I'm going to click the green check mark. Okay, so I have the first picture where I want it to go. Next, I'm going to go ahead and go to photo 2. And I'm going to do the same thing and repeat the process. So I'm going to choose this photo here. I'm going to bring it in. There's my little cutie, and as you can see, it's covering everything right now. I'm going to go ahead and do the same little trick. Hold Alt, make those little circles show up, and constrain that. And I am going to resize this photo. Oh, where did he go? There he's peeking through. I'm going to resize the photo till it's the size that I like. There we go. Just like that. And then once I like it, I'm going to click the little check mark. And now I'm going to add my final photo. Again, I'm going to follow the same method. I'm going to make sure that I'm clicked on photo number 3. And I'm going to drag them in. If you make a mistake, you can always just make sure that you put it right on top. I'm going to click Alt and put my little arrow right there in the middle. And then I'm going to resize this so that he fits right inside there. As you can see, you can make it however size you want. That's about as big as it'll fit right there. If you go too small, you'll see that happening. You want to make sure you constrain proportions. And there's my little pumpkin. So I'm going to make sure that that fits. I need to go a little bit bigger so that he fits there. So there is my photo card so far. I have 3 photos, and the last thing I need to do is I need to put in some text on top. So you have a little type tool here, and I'm going to take my type tool, make a square so it fits in the middle, and you can choose the size I don't want it to be that big, so we're going to go down to 24 and then actually we'll go 30 and then we'll see how it goes. You can actually make sure that it's centered. You can do alignment, whatever your justification you want it to be. And I'm going to say Happy Holidays. And then I'm going to click on my little move tool, and that's how I move this down. So I'm going to go Happy Holidays. And then I can make this a little bit smaller. You can make it bigger, however you want to stretch it. If you want to adjust it, double click and it'll highlight it. So I'm going to say Happy Holidays, and I think I'm going to try a different color. I'm going to choose a green that's in here, maybe a little bit darker. See how that looks. Oh, I don't like it as well as the white. You can mess around with it, do whatever you want, and I think I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. There we go, Happy Holidays, and then I'm going to make a different font, much smaller, and I'm going to choose a different font altogether, and I'm going to say With Love, and I'm going to actually turn this black. You can use whatever color you want, and then Enzo and Mommy. And there you have it. You can center these, you can change the background. Another really fun thing you can do is you can do some effects with the layers. If you want, you can click on, you're going to want to click on the actual shape, and you can go over to Layer, Layer Style, and then you can add a drop shadow if you want. You can bevel the edges a little bit, and then it kind of stands out a little. You can add a outline. There's a lot of different things that you can do. So I like the little beveled look. Isn't that cute? You can do that on all of them. If you don't like it, you can double click it. There's a little FX there, and that tells you that there's a style on it. You can add the drop shadow and see how you like it. Just like that. I think I'm going to do that on all of my shapes. And just mess around and see how you like different things. Now, there's different embellishments that I can put on here. If I like, let's see if I have any available. I can put a little Christmas tree on it, a little, I'll put a little white button. Those are really cute. Ooh, I have a little Happy Holidays that they've made. These packs come with a ton of different stuff. Okay, so I'm going to go back to what I was working on, and I'm just going to drag this in. And it'll be pretty small. I'm going to make it much smaller than that. And you can put that anywhere you want it. If you wanted this to go in the middle here, you could. You can change your mind. That's the nice thing about it. If you don't like the way it looks, yeah, I don't like that, I can get it away. So I'll show you how to delete now. You just pull this. You can see, oh, if I like it with, I like it without. You can take this and you can pull it into the trash can. Just like that. So there you have your finished card. And all you have left is to save it. And I like to save the file as a PSD in case I decide I really, really like this, but I want to change my pictures. What I'll do is I will save as, and right now it's just called Untitled. They all just start like that. And I'm going to save it as Christmas card 1. Because I might make more of them. Alright, so there's my Christmas card. I'm going to save that. Click Save. And then what I like to do for printing is I'll save for web because it comes up with this nice preview. So what you can do is you can choose which type of file you want to save it as. If you want to save it as a JPEG, you can. You can choose the quality. I'm going to make sure it's nice and big. It tells you the size down here. So if you're going to send this in an email, you'd probably want to make it smaller. And then you just press OK and save your file on your computer, upload it to whatever printer you like to use, and it can save you a little bit of money because usually a 5x7 print costs anywhere from 25 cents to $1, and a lot of times the cards themselves, when you use the programs at the store, those cost a lot more. So if you have any questions, you can send me an email or comment on this, and I will try and do my best to answer them. Hope you had fun.